What is good, YouTube? What is up, guys? We're fucking running it back, okay? YouTube tried to stop us from absolutely nailing the charts and giving the juicy content, but we're fucking running it back, okay? It's 1:40 in the morning for me. I don't care. I want you guys to watch this video first thing waking up in the morning, having some nice ass coffee, okay? So, the markets have been absolutely insane the past days. Like billions and trillions of dollars have been liquidated across all financial institutions. And sentiment has never been worse. Literally, sentiment has never been worse. We have been smacked in the face with everything that you can get. Okay? We have been smacked with the Japanese stock market liquidating, and we have had Germany selling Bitcoin positions. We've had worldwide recession news. We've had World War III between Russia and Ukraine. We've had Iran versus Israel. We've had even America selling positions. Like, you name it, we've had it, okay? Sentiment has never been worse, but that is exactly why. Like, my spider senses are just tingling. My bullishness spider senses are tingling. I don't know how to explain it. I can just feel it in the air, okay? So we're going to go all into the juicy content. But first, I want to, talk about one more thing regarding sentiment, okay? And I want to make a reference back to the Corona COVID Black Swan event, okay? And I want you guys to picture yourself being in this exact situation when COVID-19 hit. COVID-19, a worldwide deadly virus threatening all small to middle cap businesses, running out of business, unemployment rate through the roof, and America turning on their money printer to its maximum speed, okay? And I want yourself to picture you being in this situation with your crypto portfolio. I bet you 99.9% of traders in this Black Swan event would have never guessed that in 399 days, you would have the biggest V-shaped recovery going from 3.7K all the way up to 64.9, okay? Like, in the moment, things can look so bad. You can literally get hit with a worldwide deadly virus, locking everyone up inside their home, and you still got the biggest V-shaped recovery I have ever seen in a financial market. So, as of now, things may seem so messed up with countries going to war and countries selling their Bitcoin positions and stock markets fucking liquidating left and right? But in the end, it all recovers, and it recovers fucking fast, okay? So I just wanted to make that reference of how bad things can look in the moment, but then looking back, once you're in that 100K area, you will either regret not buying more or regret selling your positions. And I hope it's the buying more part, because if you sell, come on now, right? If you sell, at least sell at the top, don't sell now. You're already at the range lows. So that's just, my perspective regarding a sentiment perspective. Now, going over into the price action, I have been talking a lot about this Model 1 accumulation, okay? We had the Model 1 accumulation, and we broke structure back inside. Now, I was really not expecting price to come back towards this low, I gave the scenario of price potentially coming back to that low, but I gave it like a 5 to 10% chance of happening, and it happened, okay? And it happened. But we are traders, okay? And we don't trade our expectations, we trade our confirmations. And we got the confirmations to go short, and we shorted Bitcoin, and we shorted Solana, and we shorted MOG, and we shorted Matic, and we shorted PEPE. So we did make money out of this move down, but it still feels bad because like the crypto portfolio was not as happy as my short positions. So yeah, I gave it a 5 to 10% chance of happening, but it happened, you know, and we have to adapt once we get that more information. At that time, I was talking about the higher low, right? At the time, I was talking about the higher low right here, and we got the higher low for the higher high. Amazing trade, but from there, it turned into a Model 1 distribution, okay? Turned into a Model 1 distribution, and we dumped down. So, after having more information, you can make a better decision, and, the decision was to go short. Did I expect such an aggressive move? No, not at all. Not at all. I was hoping for a higher low for a higher high right here, leaving everyone behind. But, they wanted the massive liquidity sweep. So that's what we got. Now, talking about, this range in general. It can be a weekly Wyckoff schematic where on the weekly time frame, this doesn't count and this counts. And you have like your range like this, which can happen. It's not as usual, right? It's a bit more ugly. But in general, even if it's not a perfect Wyckoff accumulation schematic, I want you guys to just put emphasis on the fact that we were in a range and we were just deviating the range low. Every time we just deviate the range low while leaving massive amounts of trend line buy side liquidity above, okay? Like I'm talking massive amounts right here. And this is not how you form a top, okay? This is not how market makers form a top, especially as an asset, right? As an asset class like crypto and then especially Bitcoin. When an asset matures, it basically means more liquidity flows into the asset. And the more liquidity that flows into an asset, the more mature it becomes, meaning it will move slower. And why does it move slower? Well, if liquidity enters the market more and more, and the liquidity pool gets bigger, it also takes more effort to move price. You can make the example of having a crypto project with a $10 million liquidity pool and you having $10 million. If you have $10 million and the liquidity pool of the crypto project is 10 million, you can easily push that project a 2x, right? Easily. Now, if that project matures and the liquidity pool grows from 10 to 100 million, now your 10 million has way less effect on the price of the project. So Bitcoin is maturing and more liquidity is flowing into the markets. We just had a massive liquidity correction, but that's besides the point, okay? What I'm trying to say is that if the market makers wanted to push price down into bear market lows, okay, they would have needed that liquidity at the top to fill their short positions. Otherwise, there's no way they can fill billions of shorts to push price down 60 to 70%. Especially when we compare it to the previous market cycle's top right here. What happened here is that if we go on the daily time frame, you can see when the asset was even younger, it was already distributing properly, where you have your range high, you have your range low, you have your deviation 1, you have your deviation 2, indicating a distribution Wyckoff model 1, okay? Same over here at the second top, you had your initial range high, you had your initial range low, and you had deviation 1, and then you had the lower high, indicating a Wyckoff model 2 distribution. So back when the asset was younger, it was already distributing. So now that there's even more liquidity into the asset, they will need an even bigger distribution to move price the same amount. So tops are not formed like this. This is not a top. And when we combine that with the fact that our most important structure is our structure from the low up, and that's looking something like this, higher lows and higher highs, we know that every deviation of this range low has just the potential to be the higher low for the higher high on the weekly time frame. We never took that initial range high, keeping this our market structure low around 38.5 exactly, actually. So there's really nothing to worry about, okay? There's really nothing to worry about until we start losing that 38.5K low, which in my opinion is something we will not even get close to. Okay, it's just a massive extended accumulation schematic while being a massive shakeout. Because come on now, it has been absolutely nuts. I don't think we have seen something like this before in the crypto cycle. Like previous cycles when we, hovered around that previous all-time high, it was just some consolidation, but nothing like this. We did reach the all-time high earlier than normal, so we could expected a longer consolidation, but this has been taking 150 days now, around 145 days. So that's pretty extended, and I think soon it's time to get a recovery. Now, what I really like about this liquidity correction that we got here, sweeping all sell-side liquidity in the range, liquidating a lot of long positions, is that, initially everyone was watching this demand zone. Everyone was watching this demand zone, and I think that is also the reason, let me switch this to demand. I think that's also the reason why on that initial push down, we front ran it, Whenever a lot of people are watching a certain area to bounce, or watching a certain area for a bounce, that either gets disrespected or just gets front ran, because the more people that watch it, the less good it becomes. So I told you guys a while ago about this secret little demand zone that I had, and I didn't want to post about it for, I posted about it once, and I wasn't going to post about it again because then people would catch on and it may work less good. But we had this daily order block right underneath that accumulation range where we could just sweep all those lows, tap into this daily order block, which is backed by this bigger range demand. And that's exactly where we got the bounce. So this is the first time deviating the macro range low where we actually mitigate some sort of demand. All these deviations here, we mitigated no demand, we mitigated no demand, we mitigated no demand, and now we finally mitigated demand. So that's something significant for sure. And another way to look at this is actually to look at it from an exhaustion perspective, okay? So right here, this was our initial range high, this was our initial range low, okay? And then right here, we deviate the low, and then we extend it to the new range low, and we deviate the low again, and then we extend to the new range low, and we deviate the low again, and then we extend it again to the new range low, and we deviate it again. Like, we're just deviating that range low. So market makers are clearly not in control and not capable of pushing price past the range low. It has just been deviations upon deviations instead of actually range breakouts and breakdowns, okay? And it kind of reminds me of what happened right here. Because what we had right here was kind of a similar fashion where you had your range high right here. You had your range high, you had your range low, and then we got that deviation 1. And you extended it, and then we got the deviation 2. And then we extended, and then you got the deviation 3. And then we extended, and then we got that deviation 4, okay? Which was your final manipulation event right here. While in the meantime, leaving loads and loads of liquidity above. And look what happened. We got the aggressive expansion towards the upside. So it wasn't a picture-perfect Wyckoff schematic. It was just a range that just deviated the range low over and over again, showing signs of exhaustion while leaving a trail of liquidity above, and then we just got the pop-up, okay? We just got the pop-up. So I'm looking at it from the same perspective, okay? Even if it's not a perfect Wyckoff schematic, we're just deviating the low once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and it's just a matter of time before we get that pop-up, taking all these liquidity highs right here, okay? This is just all liquidity. Now, what's also nice about having an extremely fast move down is that once you start pumping, it's very easy to recover. Because the way we've been coming down, we have just been leaving a massive trail of liquidity, right? We've just been leaving a massive trail of liquidity above. We have some supply zones here and there, but overall, it is a massive liquidity trail. And right here, we just have inefficiency, okay? We just have inefficiency. And we have some supply above, but overall, it's just a massive liquidity trail. The first signs of strength on Bitcoin would be to start breaking past this high, okay? Start breaking past that high right here. Let's make it pretty. There you go. Breaking past that high is your first sign of strength. Why? It's the structure from the top down on the 1 hour. Okay, so on the 1 hour, we have lower highs and lower lows, and that's your lower high. So if we do not take that low, breaking this high would be your first signs of strength. Okay, if you cannot do that, most likely we will come back to the low we just put in. Now, if we do not get a V-shaped recovery from here, sweeping all that highs, coming towards that range high, and price rejects from this area right here, which is our 1 hour supply zone where price could put in that lower high for the lower low, I'm expecting some sort of manipulation event, okay, where this was your entire range, and this right here is just going to be like some sort of manipulation. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be pretty. It will just come back and take that low one more time before having the expansion towards the upside, okay? Before having the nice aggressive expansion. This is also completely valid, and I don't know how long this manipulation phase is going to be. I don't think it's going to be that long, okay? I don't think it's going to be that long. But this is also definitely a possibility. And how that would look on the lower time frame is that price would potentially come back up, reject from this zone, break structure back to bearish, and then whenever that happens, this could be your potential new range, which will be the manipulation range, okay? This would then be your new range, and that is the range you could potentially call the manipulation phase. And whenever that happens, your best trade would be a sweep of that range low with a reclaim and a market structure break back to bullish, okay? That would be your best swing long opportunity if we take that low one more time and confirm this as our new range. So obviously, we got some sort of bounce right now because it's just a relief rally after such an aggressive move towards the downside. The first signs of strength would be to break past this supply zone and break that 1 hour high. If we can't, this could potentially be our new range where I would start looking for longs if we start deviating the range low. If we start disrespecting the range low and we're just going to dump more down, I don't see price not feeling this inefficiency here on the left. I think if that happens, we're just coming to that 44K area, which is our next demand zone. But I don't know. I just don't see that happening. That would be pretty tough. That would be pretty tough. I just think this was just like such a major event with such a big liquidity sweep. Like, do we really want price to just die off right here before going higher? I don't know. Not feeling this idea, but you know, it's still a potential scenario that we have to watch out for. Now, going over to the total 3 market cap before going into the specific altcoins, okay? Let's pull up the total 3 market cap, which is basically a representation of how our alts are doing. Now, what's up with this chart, okay? Charting it on a macro scale, we basically had a range. Our previous bull run was just a massive range. And then what happened is that we had that beautiful, absolute beautiful accumulation schematic where you had your tab 1, you had your tab 2, you had your tab 3, which was kind of also your manipulation phase below the initial range low. Right here. This was your range. And then this can be the expansion towards the upside, okay? Making this pretty, there you go. Boom. Something like this, okay? PO3s don't have to be picture perfect. Normally you would want that manipulation phase to be below the initial range low, but it's hovering around it and that's also completely fine. Now, what people need to understand is that the PO3 doesn't have to be just one straight shot up, okay? It can have a retracement like we're seeing right now. And this retracement didn't start in a random place on the chart. it was literally our only supply zone in this range. It was literally our only good looking weekly order block inside of this range. Okay, so a rejection there was expected. Okay, I didn't expect our alts to dump down 80% with it, but I did respect the rejection, just not that big. Okay, what's important for this chart is to stick with its weekly structure. So our weekly market structure broke back to bullish right on this horizontal line, and since then we've put in a higher low for a higher high. Okay, we put in a higher low for a higher high. Now, very important, therefore, that we do not lose and we do not close a weekly candle below 44 billion. Okay, not 44, 440 billion. Okay, very important that doesn't happen. Now, surprisingly, this total 3 asset class really loves to respect distribution and accumulations. Okay, because right here at the top, we got a model 2 distribution, and right here we got a model 1 distribution. Okay, so it really loves its distribution schematics, and then therefore probably also its accumulation schematics. The distribution there, and then we had a distribution here. Okay, very, very simple. You had your 1, you had your 2, you had your 3 distribution, and then you had your 1, you had your 2, and you had your 3. This is the one we actually called, where you also had the trail of liquidity, and I told everyone that price will come to that 560 billion area, and that's also exactly what happened. Now, what people need to understand is that accumulations, right, or distributions can go over into an accumulation, meaning that we also have a range low here, and then we deviate the low once, and now we deviate the low twice. So this could be turning into a potential Wyckoff Model 1 accumulation schematic, where we did grab extreme demand inside of this range demand. This was really our last good looking demand zone remaining inside of this range. And it's extreme demand because it's the last demand remaining before taking that range low I have on my chart right here. Okay, let's clean this up right now. Make it more clear. So this could be a Wyckoff Model 1 accumulation schematic. Now, it would only be confirmed if we break proper structure from the top down, which would be around this high. Okay, break that 2-hour high, which is your market structure from the top down. Okay, lower highs and lower lows. Break that, and we could see this thing V-shaped recover. It all depends on what Bitcoin also does, right? It's just very important that we do not lose this weekly market structure low. Now, what could happen, guys, is that it just needed some more time, okay? It could happen that maybe we take the low one more time and we just start a new range here, okay? And then this maybe becomes our accumulation schematic in some sort, okay? Having a 1 tap, having a 2 tap, having a 3 tap. That could also be the case. In that situation, this range would just be neglected, and price really just needed to start its new own range, just like we did right here, you know? Boom. Just like we had our own range right here. Just like we had our own range right here, and then we had our own range right here. It would just need its own range again. That's definitely possible. In that scenario, you know, everything for your altcoins will just take a bit longer to create. So it's either that we respect this range that we've been in and we get the V-shaped recovery, and this will be a potential Model 1. Indication of that would be to break that structure high right around there. And then that could be the higher low for the higher high on that weekly time frame, right? Referring back to this higher low. And this would just simply be the higher low for the higher high. Okay, and then things could get really juicy. If we take that low one more time and we can break structure back to bullish in here, I think we just create a new range, and everything will just need a bit more time, okay, and require a bit more patience from our side. But it really depends on what Bitcoin does. It's very important to pay attention to Bitcoin right now, because it will give a clear signal to the rest of the market what it can do. You know, if Bitcoin V-shapes recovery or V-shapes recover, that's green light for the rest of the market. So another thing for, you know, investing is that market flows or money flows in waves in these crypto markets. So, you know, your majors, they bottom out first and then they'll move up. And then when your majors move up, that's when the money will flow back into the mid caps and the low caps and the ultra degen caps. Okay. So it's always very easy to have good positions open on altcoins whenever they're about to move, because you'll clearly see that Bitcoin has given out a bottom signal and already started moving first. So if you just wait for a proper bottom on Bitcoin and then you see your alts looking juicy, that's when you can invest very easily, because you'll know, okay, Bitcoin is giving a clear signal to the rest of the market that it's bottom out. Bitcoin is moving up. You know, it always moves first, and then afterwards our alts will go crazy. So it's very easy to just watch for your majors, for Bitcoin and ETH, see when they bottom out, and then rotate money into low caps and ride the wave up with the low caps, because they have the highest percentage returns. Okay? So that's kind of the view on Bitcoin. We did close this day just now right above that previous range low. Pretty juicy. What's the volume looking like? Damn. Yeah, that's good ass volume. That's good volume right here. It's the highest volume inside of this range since, yeah, it's literally the highest volume inside of this entire range. So that definitely means that some positions have been liquidated, okay? So I'm very curious to see what happens here. It's just that, I don't know. I'm really seeing this more like exhaustion now. And if market makers did fill their position inside of this range, why would they let this happen? Why would they let this happen if the market makers filled their position? Why not dump price down immediately and actually break the range low instead of deviating it for the 5th time, right? It may be because they're not actually dumping price. They're actually dumping price to fill more longs, and that's why they're letting it deviate and come back inside, right? That's just another thing to think about. But guys, we have a crazy list to go over. Like, I got many replies from you on the tweet. Riot on the Run. G. Thank you for being my mentor. I'm rewatching all videos and going to master this way of Lars. Absolute G. Shout out to you, man. Absolute G. Yeah, we got many comments to go over. I'm going to start with the first ones. They were the earliest, so Show Probable, Spam, Brett, Wolf, AERO, and Pile the strongest gems. Okay. I don't know if he wants me to go over this or just let me know, but I think Brett was there multiple times, so I'm literally gonna go over every single altcoin. So I'll also make a tweet dropping about some timestamps around which altcoins I was talking about. But I'm literally, guys, I'm going to go over every altcoin. So if you're not interested in like ORCA, you can just skip that point, right? But I'm gonna go over every single one. First, redo, bro. We absolutely nailed that taunt short. I don't know, Pulaski, if you were watching me on the BB stream, but I was talking about this distribution on Ton, giving us a potential entry on redo, and man, absolutely nailed. Look at that, guys. I didn't put that circle there right now. Like, that circle was already there. It was absolutely insane. I told you guys the move down was going to be fast because there was no volume to hold price up in this area. All the volume was in the upper section of the range, and we got the distribution confirmation. So I told you guys that Ton could have an aggressive move towards the downside, and that would give us an entry on redo, resistance dog. Where is it? I have it in my watch list. There you go. So pulling up the redo chart, I think I still have the, yeah, there you go. I still have the TA. So we grabbed all sell side liquidity and we left all buy side liquidity above. You know, we left actually a lot. And right here, we just tapped into like extreme demand. Like, this is really that last pullback before the aggressive 10x expansion towards the upside. And we're seeing some increase in selling and route to range low, which just indicates panic buying or panic selling, right? So we're in this deviation zone of this range. this manipulation phase. We tapped extreme demand. If you're bullish on redo and you have potential or you see potential in this project, this is an absolute moment to start scaling into the project. And this is a concept I apply to every single altcoin that I invest in moments like these when we are having corrections. What I do, guys, is I invest. Let's say I want to invest 10K, okay? I will put limit orders on very significant support POIs like this extreme demand, okay? I'll put a limit order, or if you can't because it's on the DEX, I just press buy the moment we touch it. But I do not invest everything at once because sometimes bottoms take time to form, just like tops takes time to create themselves. So let's say I have 10K. I'll put a limit order of around 40% on that extreme demand zone and like very significant POI. What I then do is I'll wait for a proper accumulation schematic to form or some sort of consolidation before the next leg higher. And once I see that consolidation and I see that accumulation, I'll invest the rest of the 40%. So now I'm invested 80%. The other 20% is when we actually break back bullish inside the range and we start to pump. That's when I'll add the rest, okay? So I do it in like 3 ways. I put a limit order, just to catch the relief rally that you'll most likely get after having an aggressive expansion towards the downside. Then I'll watch for some more consolidation and accumulation to add the other 40%. And then the rest of the 20% I'll add when we start breaking bullish back inside the range. That's normally how I'll handle it because I can guarantee you guys, the moment we come back inside this range, this sweep is going to be so fast. It's going to be 1 or 2 days. Literally 1 or 2 days, you recover this entire move. It's just liquidity. So talking about redo, Pulaski, this is definitely an area to start scaling into your position. Also because Ton swept this, had this aggressive move down and hit some extreme demand. It could be that Ton takes that low and the range low and start accumulating from here, In that scenario, your redo position will also do something like this, which is totally fine. That's why it's right now is the time to start scaling into the position, okay? Add that 40% that, if you had 1,000 on the sidelines, add that 400 right now. This is definitely a great area to start scaling into the position if you have a long-term vision of this, reaching potentially $1 billion. Who knows, right? Now, you also said Bobo and Wolf. I think many other people said that, so we're just going to go over both. It played out as you said that Redo will drop even more. Happy about it. Oh, you even said I didn't read it. Yeah, that was an insane call. So Bobo. Let's go to Bobo. I have that on my watch list as well. Damn. Yeah, so I was hoping Bobo would start to bottom out right here. But that was before, Japanese started to liquidate its entire stock market. So what happened right there is we got the range and we just aggressively broke down from it because, ETH dropped all the way down to fucking 2,100 or something. So it takes Bobo with it, right? But, the fact that ETH dropped that much and, oh, damn, it's just 64%. It's pretty tough. Yeah, okay. It just took Bobo with it. Nah. We're in this range, right? And this is like our deviation threshold zone. So unless we start breaking this low right here, that's when I would call this range low broken, and we really have to watch for a new accumulation to form. But right now, we're still in that deviation threshold zone. However, yeah, it has been pretty tough. It has been pretty tough for Bobo. I think we just arrived in this daily demand zone. You see that on the left here, this little daily demand zone? It's actually something we just tapped into. So if you want to start scaling into this position, it's the exact same way as Ton. Like, this was the place to expect some sort of bounce. So you could add like 30 to 40% of your position right on this area. Then you will want to see some more consolidation, maybe sweep the low to give signs of an accumulation, 1, 2, 3. Once you see that right here, you can add the other 40%, and then when you start breaking back inside the range, reclaiming some levels, that right there is where you add the rest of your 20%. And that's if you have a long-term vision for BOBO, right? Because it is pretty risky right now, because we had an aggressive expansion towards the downside. We're hovering around that maximum deviation low, and we haven't broken any structure back to bullish. Like, your main market structure is this high right here. So you could start scaling in, or you could just wait for Ethereum to bottom out. And then when you see Ethereum bottom out and starting to move up, that's when you rotate your money into BOBO, because BOBO is just a leverage bet on Ethereum, right? But that's kind of my thought process. It's kind of in the same area as Redo, even though Redo, was in a more significant area because it was bigger demand. This is a tiny little demand zone, but yeah, that tiny little demand zone cost a 4.5x in price. So that's still pretty significant. And then your last call was Wolf. Okay, let's check Wolf. See how our Matt Fury friend is doing, right? Okay, so this was still OTA, massive volume increase. Yeah, it got neglected. So what we were seeing, let's delete this because we went deeper than expected. What we were initially seeing is that we came into a very important area. And right here, we saw that signs of accumulation where right on this deviation low, right here, right on this deviation low, you see such a massive volume spike, meaning there were definitely whales accumulating at the range lows right here, and they also push price higher on the breakout, okay? Then we rejected from the POC from this entire move down, and then we got a retrace. Now, initially the retrace was on very low volume, on every move down, the volume was decreasing, which is actually something you like to see because it just means that there are not that many sellers interested. And then once volume starts picking back up and you start breaking structure back to bullish, that's when you actually can have the rotation higher, okay? But then again, Wolf is also a beta play of Ethereum. Ethereum crashed, it took Wolf with it. The thing is, the way it has been coming down, it's been coming down so slow, just leaving liquidity here. Like, whenever ETH gives green light, this can just pop back up so fast. Absolutely, like, incredibly fast. Checking if we bounce from any significant areas. Yeah, look at that on the weekly time frame. Like, come on now, guys. Come on now. Like, using your weekly structure on Wolf, where's my path to? You have a high, you have a higher low, and you have a higher high, right? This was a very nice high on the weekly, and from there we also got a 89% rejection and correction. But now we tapped into that demand zone, which is literally this is the ultra demand zone. It's even your ultra demand zone. Is your ultra demand zone of this entire move? Let's make this lighter. This is your entire range demand before having like a 10x in price, but it's also locally backed by some demand. You see that daily order block right here? I love when you have like your local order blocks lining up with your massive range demand, because it just gives a very nice area for price to bounce from. And you can clearly see that people started buying that level, because look at the volume spike once price actually touched that low or touched that demand zone, right? We're clearly seeing a massive spike in volume, indicating people buying, okay? Indicating people buying. And the way it came down, we left so much liquidity. I hate I don't have a fucking favorite watch list on this deck screener. But the way we have been coming down, this will be recovered in no time, literally. You have some supply right up here where you'll most likely get a rejection from, especially if the move up was very aggressive, which it probably will be because you only have liquidity here. But yeah, this is a very crucial area for Wolf. Definitely a place to start scaling into your position if you want more exposure to it. And then for the rest of your money that you have on the sidelines, I would wait for a potential range to form, or, to get the expansion towards the upside, followed by a retrace where this is just your massive 1, massive 2, massive 3. Like, everything can happen, right? But as of now, you're getting a bounce for an area that makes sense to bounce. Just don't FOMO into any positions if you see just a slight bounce up, right? Oftentimes, you have that relief rally after an aggressive expansion towards the downside just to consolidate for longer, potentially go lower, accumulate, you name it, right? But this was definitely the place to have some orders if you wanted some more exposure to Wolf. And in general, guys, everything regarding the Matt Fury playbook of Brett, Pepe, Andy, and Wolf, I'm bullish on it long term, okay? It may take some time to start a whole new range, start a whole new proper accumulation, but overall in the macro time frame, this was just a higher low, or can just be a higher low for a higher high, right? Higher low, boom, higher high. It would just probably take some time, but we're seeing buyers and we're seeing interest from this level because we see the massive spike in volume. That's kind of the only thing I can give you guys for Wolf. Buyers are stepping in here. It's an important area. I would prefer to form a proper range here and accumulate before going higher. But if we start breaking, I would say this 4-hour high, which is our first sign of strength right here. If you start breaking that high, I think it's very possible that price starts sweeping all that liquidity at the top. You would have to break past this supply zone though. So I would say break past this supply zone right here, and you can easily sweep all these highs. But overall, great place to add to your spot bags if you're interested in getting more exposure to Wolf. Long term, okay? Not from a leverage trading perspective, a long-term spot portfolio. Now, Pulaski, thank you for your comment. I think we went over everything. Brett. Did I not go over Brett? I thought I was going to go over Brett at first. Okay, let's get into Brett, guys. I think I got a lot of Brett comments as well. So, yeah, come on now. It's Brett. It's Brett. Like, if you're a Chad, buy some Brad, right? So, when I was talking on my Twitter about seeing some weakness on the charts, right? I was seeing some weakness on the charts, and what that weakness was just simply a Wyckoff distribution schematic. So what we had right here, we had our range low, we had our range high, deviation 1, and we extended it, and then we had deviation 2. Okay, this was the local signs of weakness that I was talking about. This was a distribution, but I just saw it as an opportunity to trade, to potentially buy more, right? I just saw this as an opportunity to potentially buy more. We had some liquidity right here, and we broke structure back inside the range right here, and that just confirmed the distribution, okay? So when I was talking about seeing local signs of weakness, this was the weakness I was talking about. We were creating a Model 1 distribution that obviously played out, okay? And Brett loves to have its accumulations and distributions because for the people that are very sharp, if you look prior to what happened, you actually had an accumulation, and that accumulation went over into a distribution. So you had your 1, you had your 2, you had your 3, Model 2 accumulation that went over into a Model 1 distribution. And you saw the exact same happen in the previous range prior, right? Right there, the exact same happened, where also here, you had your accumulation Model 2, and this time it went over into a distribution Model 2. So it really loves its accumulations going over into its distributions, right? And that's just something I noticed that was like, funny to notice. It just means that there's a lot of smart money involvement, and smart money is moving this asset, which is just good because smart money moves markets. So on a higher time frame, we all know that, Brett came down from here, so you just have to visualize that. But we have massive demand here. This is just massive demand, absolute massive demand. And they got a tiny mitigation right here. But in those situations where you have mega demand and you have a tiny mitigation, I like to pull my demand zone right underneath that mitigation and still call this my unmitigated demand zone. And on a higher time frame, guys, we have just been trending up, right? This is just a higher low for a higher high. So I myself have already filled massive limit longs on Bybit. spot longs for Brett in this area, right on that top of that demand zone right here. Okay, I think Brett is one of the best meme coin narratives this cycle and has a lot of potential to go into deca billions, like 10 to 20 billion. So whenever you see an asset retrace all the way back to 600-700 million market cap, it's a no-brainer for me to add. Okay, and again, I'm applying the exact same concept. Let's say I want to add 10 grand, I limited order around 5 grand here, a bit more, and then I'm waiting for price to show its hand a bit more, right? Waiting for Bitcoin to see what it does, but I definitely wanted to catch this relief rally because we already went up around 30% from it, right? But yeah, Brett is definitely bullish. All I can say is that in order to confirm a higher low for a higher high on the weekly right now, you need to break that market structure high. So what I mean with that is we have this weekly uptrend, but how do we know the higher low for the potentially higher high is going to be in if you break your structure from the top down back to bullish? And that's currently pointing down, right? Let's make it red so you can visualize it better. So if you break the red drawing structure, the black drawing structure will continue itself, okay? But that's all the way up here. So I wouldn't mind, just having a accumulation schematic here where you take the high once or you take the low once more, moving your high down to here, and then from there we add the rest, the 40% and then the 10% on the breakout, okay? Exact same concepts apply, and overall macro bullish on Brett because we did have like all these distributions, and all these distributions did their job, right? This distribution right here pushed price down. This distribution here pushed price down. So now because the distributions did their job, we just have a trend line of liquidity above, right? This is not resistance. This is just a trend line of buy side liquidity. So once we do start reclaiming those highs, we start breaking past them, we're just going to sweep them very easily. Like this is no resistance, okay? The resistance is right here. Right here is the resistance, okay? So break past that supply zone and I see new all-time highs in no time on Brett, okay? Be a Chad and buy some Brett, okay? And I'm talking about spot portfolio, guys. And in my opinion, this is just the way to do it, You want to catch limit orders on the significant areas of support so you can catch the relief rally and not FOMO in. And then once you've catched the relief rally, you just show what price tells you and then enter more in the potential consolidation / accumulation because they will always appear, and then add more in the breakout. Dividing your investment plan into those 3 areas and those 3 steps is the key to also the mental aspect of handling scaling into a project. Because what happens is that people will see the bounce and they miss the long right here and they'll get in at 50% higher, and that's when we have the retrace, right? And then they are too scared again and they sell right here before moving higher again. So it's like, you want to catch that relief rally, in my opinion, because it will calm your mind of prices bouncing 20 to 30% all of a sudden. And then from there, with a clear mind and already having some sort of exposure to the project, you can scale in the rest. So, thank you for the comment. AERO, I don't know if that's a coin. Aerodrome. Let me just have a look. Aerodrome. Coinbase. Okay. Aerodrome Finance. Aerodrome, brother. I think this is it. It has a Coinbase chart. It has a Bybit chart. Oh, that's pretty new. Let's get rid of the perpetual chart. Let's do Coinbase. Okay. Oh, this thing went on a tear. This thing went on a tear. This thing went on a tear, and then we broke daily market structure back to bearish right here. And since then, we have been downtrending. So you're at your higher low. And then you broke structure, and then you're at your lower high for a lower low. And this is just a lower high as of now. But you did not take the low yet. we came into a very critical point of support, which was literally your last demand remaining before filling this imbalance on the chart. And that's where you got the bounce from. It was this last daily order block. That's pretty obvious. And right here is your new range, okay? Right here is your new range. But it's very important that you understand that on the daily time frame, we're trending down, okay? On the daily time frame, we're trending down. So what you would like to see is maybe take this low, okay? Scale in on the range reclaim and breaking market structure back inside, right? And then breaking or touching that low will confirm your range high also as your market structure high. So what I would do if I saw my confirmation right here, I would scale in 40%, and then on the break and the retest, I would just scale in the rest, okay? But I can guarantee you, if you do not break your market structure high, which is currently all the way up here, you're not going to have rotation back towards that high, okay? So preferred case and preferred scenario is price comes a bit lower, sweeps that low, comes back inside, maybe forms some sort of model 2 accumulation where you add around 40% right here, 40% on the confirmation right here. You wait for price to go higher, break outside of the range, get the back test of it, and that's where you add the rest to run it higher, okay? That's just on AERO real quick. There's nothing more I can say. Right now, this is your market structure high. You have your range right here, and I would just love a sweep of the range low because that would move your market structure high back down to that high, okay? Crypto Cobain, Pyra, GPU, 0x0, and KARRAT. Okay, those are a lot of coins. Let's talk about 0x0, and I'll have a check at Pyra as well. We'll see if we can do them all. We still need to come if we can do them all. It's fucking 2:30 in the morning. Okay. Pyra, GPUs. Let's talk about 0x0 first because I actually have some exposure to that project. 0x0 right here. I think I had a chart on it. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so 0x0 is just in a simple weekly uptrend, okay? You have higher lows and higher highs just like this, and price came into a very significant area of support where this was literally, this right here was your extreme demand, and that's exactly where we're bouncing from right now. So if we want to put in a higher low for a higher high on the weekly time frame, this is the place to bounce. This is literally the place to bounce, okay? And what we're seeing is very high volume coming into that demand. So that's probably, some panic sellers absolutely getting absorbed because the candle's almost closing bullish and we're getting the bounce from it, right? Now, our weekly market structure is trending up. Obviously, we also have market structure from the top down that's currently trending lower, okay? Let's make that black. This is your most important market structure high to break, okay? This is your most important market structure high to break because if we break that back to bullish and we get the retest, that would confirm that this could be the higher low for the higher high on that red weekly market structure drawing continuation, okay? So really your most important high to break is that black market structure high right here. And we have some supply backing that area up, right? This is a supply zone right here. So what you want to see is you want to see that supply zone fail, break through it, and then get the back test, and then you find a long confirmation for the higher low for the higher high, okay? There is a massive volume increase in that coming into that support area, which is always nice to see. It just shows panic selling and volume and buyers stepping in, especially if price is moving higher, right? So we are at a crucial point, and the same thing applies. If you're bullish on this project, you can enter 30% to 40% right on that extreme demand zone, and then once we start breaking structure right here, or we start forming like an actual consolidation range, just like this, where you have your tab 1, you have your tab 2, and you have your tab 3, whenever that happens, you can start scaling in the other 30 to 40%. And then once you actually break structure back to bullish on a macro time frame, like the structure from the top down, that's where you can add the last 20%. Okay? So you can add the last 20%. So overall, this thing is still trending up, which is pretty significant because a lot of coins are actually not trending up anymore if you look at their macro structure, and this coin still is, okay? So this would be absolutely nice. It will take a long time though because, you know, the way I drew it, we're already in October. So I don't know if this timing is correct, but we can also have this on the lower time frame. Just know that you have to break this high to call for this high again. Very important. Okay. Brett. No. Let's do one more. GPU. Okay. Let's do GPU. GPU. I don't have GPU. Node AI. I think this is the correct one. There you go. Oh boy. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so we were trending up, right? Higher lows and higher highs. And then this was your weekly market structure low, and you failed to break it. Matter of fact, you SFP'd it, okay? You SFP'd it, and then from there, you create a range, and we've been deviating the range low. This is not looking that bad. This was your range low. This was your deviation 1. You came back inside right here, breaking structure indicating a possible model 2 accumulation, and now you're bouncing from demand, which could be the third tap. Which could be the third tap right here. What's the volume profile looking like in this range? Developing volume area. Volume area low is right around there. This could be a Model 2 accumulation schematic. The only way to confirm this is you break structure from the top down, okay? Do we have any structure properly from the top down? I would say right around this high. This is like your 2-hour high. And then your 4-hour high is right up here. So this could be pretty significant. GPU is not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad at all. You don't really have supply as well at the top. No, so you have buy-side liquidity at the top. You had your range low. You deviate the range low, had your own little accumulation, broke structure back inside. Then you did come down again, but now it could just be to mitigate demand, right? So this could be a third tap of a Wyckoff Model 2 accumulation. And in that situation, you should have a pretty easy rotation back up towards, you know, this high right here. Break that high, and you can see a rotation back towards the all-time high. I don't know about all the fundamentals about this project and token distributions and stuff like that, but just from a TA perspective, this is actually not that bad. Like, this coin is actually been holding up pretty nicely in this market correction phase, because how long did this take? This is 115 days. Like, that's a long ass time, guys. That's a long ass time, and we're finally seeing some signs of an accumulation. So break that local high, and you could start scaling into this project. That would be pretty insane. This can be a pretty good play. Good call, Crypto Cabane. Let's do one more. Let's do PYRA. Because I've seen that before. I just never took the time to look at it. Is it already like on here? Peer. cannot find it. Okay, then let's just do KARRAT. Let's just do KARRAT. Oh boy. Damn. Yeah, so what I want to talk about with this KARRAT coin, because I've heard of this project, guys. Come on now. I've heard of this project. And what I want you guys to understand is that this project launched at an insanely high, fully diluted valuation. Okay. And if you look at the team members, you had Alex Becker, you had Crypto God John, they get all these massive influencers on board. But all these influencers also got massive amounts of the supply of this token, or at least some sort of deal. And if you actually look into their white paper, you can see that the amount of tokens they had for marketing and team and advisors and all that stuff was going to be unlocked 6 months after launch. So right now we are, I don't know if this was the exact launch, but right now we are 4 months, 3 to 4 months after launch. So obviously they're going to keep on promoting this, because the higher the prices is when they have their token unlocks, the more money they can make. So I want you guys to be aware of that. You have to read that white paper, because they have massive amounts of tokens locked for the team and the advisors and the marketing. And when that gets unlocked, all these people will just, take profits and sell their coins and dump on you guys. And that's why they promote the coins a lot right now. But then 6 months from now, you will never hear this coin again from them. I think this was actually a pretty cool coin, like an actual good gaming coin. But yeah, if the tokenomics aren't good, this would just take a lot of time to recover, okay? And I cannot even chart this. Like, you can call this a macro range, but it's not looking the best. It's just not looking the best, okay? I don't even want to call this a 1, a 2, a 3. It could happen, and it could just have the massive V-shaped recovery here, but I at least want to see some acceptance back inside the range, okay? Otherwise, I would not get my hands on this. But it could end up being a Model 1, and we could have a crazy recovery. But I just remember myself checking this white paper and not being okay with the tokenomics. So just be aware of when that token unlock will come, and take some profits beforehand. Because for sure, they will take profits on you guys, okay? And don't want you guys to get dumped on. Now, next, we have talked about Brett, we've talked about Bobo. Andy, let's fucking go, guys. Andy. I bought more Andy right before I made this video. Why? Guys, I've been saying that right when price was right around here, I've been talking about this can take longer than you guys may expect, and it can go deeper than what May feels comfortable. Literally, that's exactly what I talked about. It can take longer than you may expect, and it can go deeper than what feels comfortable. And I know about you guys, but this dump right here did not feel comfortable for me. Even though I was expecting it, it still didn't feel comfortable. Like, in the moment, you just saw massive red candles going down, right? You saw massive red candles going down, but we had this daily order block, and it was simply our extreme demand. Like, this was our weekly market structure low that you didn't want to lose, okay? This was your weekly market structure low that you didn't want to lose. But your weekly market structure low was backed by extreme demand. And I was actually getting flashbacks, okay? I was getting flashbacks towards this area right here, okay? Because at the time, this was our weekly market structure low. And price came extremely close. And what you can actually see is that if we check the volume right here, the moment we had this range formation, and we had a range low and we deviated the range low, we came extremely close towards that weekly market structure low. And coming into the low and the bottom that we put in, we saw our volume increase. Okay? You see these sell candles increase while price is moving down. That means there are panic sellers who are panic selling coming into that bottom. And we were seeing the exact same right now. This is your weekly market structure low. Okay? it was backed by extremely strong demand, which was the people that stepped in and 7x price right here, okay? And coming into that low, as you can see, we again saw the increase in volume while price was moving down. It's the same, okay? It's almost exactly the same. And in both scenarios, you feel extremely uncomfortable, but that's what you have to recognize as a trader, how you felt in that moment, and then learn from it, right? And I bought more Andy here, guys. Like my exact entry my exact entry on Andy, as I've discussed earlier, was literally in that manipulation phase. This is my exact entry. We came back to my entry, and that's where I added, okay? So I for sure added to my Andy bag because, guys, let me be extremely clear, okay? The moment Ethereum gives green light, there is no coin like Andy that's going to bounce. Or I don't know if I phrased that right. It's my mind is it's 2:45 in the morning. But what I wanted to say is, if we look at how Andy came down, okay, guys, we have so much liquidity above us, it's not even funny. I don't think I've seen a liquidity trail this clean as we're seeing right now on Andy. Like, bro, it's absolutely insane. The moment the market gives green light, okay, this is gonna just squeeze. And it's gonna be so fast, and you're gonna regret not buying more here, okay? And again, I'm approaching it the exact same. I'm scaling into the project, okay? So I already had a very decent position that I didn't want to add more on, but, you know, I got a little re-entry. So I was like, I'm going to just add some more trading profits into Andy and see from there. So I just bought more, not planning on adding particularly more regarding the 40% thing, but if we do get some sort of an accumulation and a very obvious play, I will have a look, okay? But we're bouncing from an area that we needed to bounce from. We're seeing the exact same regarding volume. We're coming into that important area and close to that weekly market structure low, just like we saw here. We saw that volume increase, you know, showing panic sellers, and we're getting the bounce where we needed to bounce, okay? So just it's very important, and I want you guys to note down your feelings in these times of correction, because you can learn from it so much. I remembered how I felt right here. It was scary to buy, but that's exactly when I needed to buy. And I was feeling the exact same right here, and I anticipated on it, okay? So bullish on Andy. We're still on the high time frame uptrend. You don't want to lose that weekly market structure low, and we're not losing it right now, okay? We're actually bouncing, and we're up 60% from it. Okay? Very nice. Andy, you're an absolute Chad. DGR, absolute Chad. I did Wolf. Brett would be nice. We did Brett. Caspa. I'm so proud of my guy called Tim. He's shorted Caspa for a 26% move. Absolute Chad. Caspa. Okay. Well, this was the today that I had on Caspa. And I said, you know, lose this low, and we could see 0.129, which was literally right here, 0.129. And that's exactly what happened. It was a beautiful Wyckoff Model 1 distribution. Just get rid of it. We were in a bigger range right here. Okay, we were in the bigger range. Okay. We're in the bigger range where we had our range high and we had our range low, and then coming into our macro range high, we formed yet again another range, okay? And that range had a proper 1, 2, 3, where you had so much liquidity below you. It was such an easy trade. Shout out to Tim for taking it, and we got the aggressive expansion towards the downside, and now we got that sweep of the range low. So it's actually showing so much strength. Damn, how much is this bounce already? Where is my measurement tool? I don't fucking know. Oh, there you go. You're already up 32% on a major. Like, that's pretty crazy. That shows there was a lot of interest in this area, you know. Market makers dump price down to grab all sell side liquidities to fill hundreds of millions of longs. Probably not hundreds of millions on Caspa, but a lot of longs, and now price is coming up again, having had a nice liquidity sweep. So, you know, on Caspa, I would have had limits right here. I wasn't interested in adding to Caspa, so the best play would have been to have limit orders right here, again 40%, and then see, you know, what price does after it has that relief rally. So we're getting the relief rally right now. I wouldn't suggest you FOMO in right here. It's just a relief rally after an aggressive expansion towards the downside. So the moment price slowly starts coming down again, that's when you can start looking to add to your positions if you haven't added right here. But overall, you know, we could see a rotation back down towards this low because we have been deviating the macro high, but there is more, there is for sure more liquidity below here. This is also all liquidity. So we could see a rotation back down towards that macro range low. That would be an ultimate buying opportunity, but don't bet the house on it. Okay, don't bet the house on it, because then this would need to dump another 42%, and that would be pretty crazy for a major like Caspa. So in my opinion, if I wanted to scale in, I would have started scaling in with limit orders right around that range low after this beautiful distribution. And don't start FOMOing in right now, okay? Don't start FOMOing in right now. But you are in this massive range, right? You are in this massive range, so you're trending up, but you're basically ranging. So I would be patient. See what Bitcoin does. See what Caspa gives you. We're getting a very aggressive expansion towards the upside from here, but I would be pretty surprised if we just did this. It could happen. It actually could happen. You know what this reminds me of, actually? It's pretty funny that we say this. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Bitcoin on the lower time frame, okay? It reminds me of Bitcoin on the lower time frame. So remember this, the Model 1 with the very clean liquidity sweep and then the V-shaped recovery, okay? This being your V-shaped recovery right here. If I go on Bitcoin, it actually reminds me of Bitcoin right here. Don't ask me how my brain works like that, but it reminds me of this. Right here. So what we saw right here was you had the Model 1, and then you had the easy liquidity sweep right here, and then you had the 1 tap, you had the 2 tap, and you just flew higher, right? That's exactly what, like this schematic, it happens more often than not. So you had the Model 1 liquidity sweep and move higher with a V-shaped recovery. That is something you could get right now on Caspa on the higher time frame. So be aware of that. But I would still not FOMO in, okay? I would still not FOMO in because you're basically entering at the EQ of the range. You would have wanted to buy down here, okay? So that's Caspa for me, brother. I did Andy, ORCA. ORCA. What is ORCA? I've never heard of that project before. ORCA USDT. Buy it? Do they have another chart with more data? Okay. Down. Down, down, down. You never took that low in the bear market, did you? No, you didn't. You never took that low. Okay. Well, this is still massive demand that you came into. It's a bit ugly, though. Like, the candles are ugly. The candles are ugly. You came into massive demand. Why are the candles so ugly? You got the break right here. And then you actually swept the liquidity from the demand zone, which is totally valid. Yeah, so you never... yeah, it's a pretty weird chart. Okay, it's a pretty weird chart. You had a very aggressive expansion towards the upside, followed by very deep retracement, coming back into major support. This area is major support, and then what followed was a daily market structure break back to bullish. So expectational order flow on the daily time frame would obviously be a higher low for a higher high. And we came back to this demand zone and we actually swept the liquidity from the block, which is totally fine. Your most important structure from the high, though, is on the 3-day. So on the 3-day, you have lower highs and lower lows. And the moment you start breaking this high, you can give the argument of price having a rotation back up towards the all-time high. But right now, I would be careful, okay? I would be careful. The way we've been coming down, though, is leaving a lot of liquidity here. So that could just be an easy sweep. Your first signs of strength would be to break this high. Yeah. So you could expect a higher low for a higher high on the daily. This could be the higher low if we start breaking this high. If we start breaking that high, you could come back to that high. You need to break that high to come back up to the 3-day high, and you need to break the 3-day high to come back up towards the all-time high. I don't know about this project, but the candles are ugly on Coinbase, though. So the volatility isn't really there for this project, so I want you to be aware of that, okay? PEPE, PONKE, injective Caspa. We went over Caspa. PEPE. Let's go over PEPE. My friend Pepe. My best friend Pepe. Why am I not getting that? No, we can do this. It's fine. Well, that unfortunately did not work. We shorted Pepe right up here. Right up here. I cashed out here, though. Ugh. Should not have, but hey. We live and we learn. Okay? So, on a macro time frame, right now, you have nothing to worry about on Pepe. And with the importance of right now, okay? Because we're simply in a weekly uptrend. You broke structure right here. Broke structure right here. Weekly higher low for the higher high. This is your weekly market structure low. As long as you don't break that low, you have nothing to worry about, okay? You even have some demand below that in case you ever do come lower than that low. I think that would be pretty messed up if we do come lower than that low, but hey, in case it happens, you do have some demand below it, which you could wick into and still move higher. What I was watching was the POC actually in this entire thing, which was right around here. So I had some demand right here, kind of backed by the POC, but also here on Pepe, you took liquidity from the block, which is also totally fine. But it's just a massive volume, though, in a very nice P-shaped profile, okay? It's a very nice distributed profile with all the volume concentrated into one price point, which is right around this 7.4 area, okay? And that's also where we're getting a bounce now after sweeping liquidity from the block, which is totally fine. Now, also on a higher time frame, we are trending up, right? We are clearly trending up. But the only way to confirm the higher low for the higher high on swing structure is if you break structure from the top down. But your structure from the top down is all the way up right here. So as of now, if you break that high, that's your confirmation that we'll go back above that high. But that's pretty far away, so that's kind of useless, right? So I'm just checking for a potential accumulation to happen whatsoever. If you want to, again, start to get more exposure to Pepe, I would, again, do it in the 40% on the relief rally, 40% on the consolidation and accumulation, and then 20% on the breakout, okay? Because Pepe, it is looking the same like Andy a bit, right? It's looking the same like Andy a bit, where the way we've been coming down, it can just be one massive liquidity trail. It looks even cleaner on Andy, I have to admit that, but there's also so much liquidity on Pepe to be taken, so much buy-side liquidity. So whenever the market gives green light, this thing will move. But as of now, I cannot confirm that this is a bottom because we came into a very important POI. We swept liquidity from the block, which is totally possible. But now I just need to see more before I can give any clear statements, okay? I just need to see more. That's it. I just need to see more. But overall, the first signs of strength would be to break this high, which is simply your structure from the top down, okay? Simply your structure from the top down, the 1 hour. Like said, on the others, just lower highs and lower lows all the way, okay? Boom. So breaking this will be your first sign of strength. PONKE. I actually just opened a position on PONKE. I don't know how to properly pronounce it, but we absolutely nailed this chart. Like, we absolutely nailed this chart where we talked about, you know, how this, it's all on my Twitter in case you guys want like any proof or something, but we talked about how this was not a range break, but a major deviation. And then from there, I also talked about how volume was decreasing in this asset. You know, volume was pointing down while price was going up. And then you had this massive volume spike, but it was simply a buy order right here that probably got liquidated on this move down, okay? And I was talking about we could either get a bounce right from this area, which we obviously just smashed through, and otherwise we'll get a bounce from this demand zone hovering right around that range low. And again, it's this demand zone that's backed by bigger range demand. That's just like I talked about in the beginning of this video on Bitcoin. I love those little POIs. So the moment we took that low, I opened the position, and it's currently up like 50%, like almost 50%. So that's extremely nice. So on PONKE, I'm looking for this to turn into an accumulation because I think this is one of the highest potential meme coin plays on the Solana network, right? So if you're bullish on Solana, this can just be a leverage bet on Sol. So looking for a position, or not even looking for a position, I have a position open, but I'm looking to add in case I see more data, okay? Just need to see more data. Right now, we saw the volume increasing once we take that range low, which just shows panic selling. That's getting absorbed by the big players, right? But also on PEPE or on PONKE, we're seeing the clear liquidity trail. And I truly think that the moment the market is ready again, these meme coins will pump so hard, bro, and you will regret not buying, okay? Like, imagine all the people that were like buying in this entire move up right here, who were like, if PEP or if PONKE ever comes back down to that 150 mil market cap area, I'm betting the house on it. And then now that we're here, they're too scared to buy, right? That's just how it normally goes. But yeah, I just opened a position on PONKE. I'm bullish on this project. We're at range lows. You don't want to be bearish at range lows. And I'm excited to see what the future has to bring. So also here, first signs of strength would be to break some proper market structure. And this is your 2 hour market structure high. Okay, break that high and we could have a full on reversal, in my opinion. Injective. Let's do injective because I've also had, also did Kaspa. Let's talk about INJ, USDT. Yeah, so this was just, bro, this timing was too funny. Like, I drew this 40 days before it happened, and you literally got the perfect bounce here. Also the timing, I drew it like this, and the timing was also perfect, which was pretty funny to see. But yeah, this is basically my TA on injective. What I thought was so significant is that if we compare the volume in this local range to the volume in this massive range, is that in a range that took 33 days, you have more volume than a range that took 111 days to form. So it clearly shows that there was a lot of buying volume going on here since, you know, price pushed higher outside of the range, making it some sort of an accumulation. So that POC was very significant to me, and we tapped into that POC, coming back inside the range, but now we also went lower. So getting rid of this real quick, we are still inside of the confinements of that range, but it could just be a potential model 1, right? Where this is your 1, this is your 2, and this is your 3, just like this. This could easily be a model 1 accumulation schematic. I wouldn't be surprised. It also did it right here, right? So prior to the accumulation, you had your 1, you had your 2, you had your 3, which was a model 1 distribution. And distributions can go over into accumulations. So I wouldn't be surprised for injective to potentially start accumulating right here, right? Obviously, we have like mega demand, like absolute mega demand right below us. But that third tab did something significant. It did something significant for sure, because on the second tab, we bounced from demand. On the third tab, we swept all liquidity from it, right? Which is also very important. So this swept all liquidity. And I would say if you break market structure back inside the range, this could be a macro Wyckoff model 1, which for me would be something around this high, okay? Again, break that high, and that would potentially confirm that this will be a massive Wyckoff model 1 accumulation schematic. If that does not happen and we'll see lower prices, then I would look at something like this, where this is your new range, and then you can potentially have a PO3 tapping into that demand zone, okay? That's also always a possibility. However, that would mean a lot more downside. Like this is around a 40% move, so that would be quite a lot. I don't know what Bitcoin will do in that case if that happens, but it is a possibility if this accumulation fails. But I would like for this Model 1 accumulation to play out. If I see a market structure break, maybe I'll look for some swing longs, some low leverage swing long positions, okay? But overall, on the weekly time frame, you're simply just trending up. Just like on almost any other asset, on the weekly time frame, you have, let me see, it's something like this actually. Boom. Boom. Because you had you had 2 candles going down. Oh no, my apologies. It's right this. It's like this. There you go. Boom. Where this was the range demand that caused the expansion, making it very significant. So yeah, we could have a local model 1 right here, skipping everyone that's waiting for lower prices around that $10 area, and have a reaccumulation right here, okay? A 1, a 2, a 3, break some structure back to bullish right here, find your long, rotate it back up all the way towards that high. Your first target should be this local range high, break past the range high, you go towards the all-time high, okay? Andy, I did. PEPE, I did. They don't want to see us winning. No, I know, bro. TRAC and METIS, please. TRAC and METIS. TRAC. Never heard of that project before. TRAC. Big get. Oh, man. I don't know what I have to say about this project, man. I don't know if I have all of the data, but I can already tell you that your first signs of strength would be to break this high. Oh. Your first signs of strength would be to break that high, because that's just simply the structure from the top down. You've been respecting a lot, okay? Has been giving lower highs and lower lows. This was like a wick or a lower high, and then you go lower. So if you want to see like a reversal potentially back up towards that all-time high, I don't know what the project does or what the token distribution looks like, but if you want to potentially have a rotation back up towards that range high, you will have to break this market structure, okay? It's very important that you break this level right here around 0.83. In the meantime, if price does something like this and it takes the low, that high obviously moves down, okay? But that's like kind of the only thing I can say, because you've just been downtrending, and I cannot find any support on the left because there's not much data. Okay. METIS. Qcoin. Oh boy. This got demolished. Damn. This got demolished. It even has broken weekly structure. So you broke structure on the weekly time frame back to bullish right here. Right? But then you also broke weekly market structure back to bearish. You had a massive wick and you broke it back to bearish. So, you know, the moment you broke it back to bearish right here, what is the expectational order flow? Obviously a lower high for a lower low, and that's exactly what we're seeing. We're just seeing a continuation of weekly structure. So weekly structure is very significant, okay? Weekly structure is very significant, and you don't want to neglect that. So you're in a weekly downtrend, man. So I would really be careful with this asset. I would only start, you know, scaling into an asset like this when I see clear signs of weekly market structure being broken back to bullish, meaning you'll have to break past this high, and then from there have some sort of accumulation. So let's say we break that high, we come back down, and then right here you see like signs of an accumulation where you have your 1, you have your 2, you have your 3. That's when I would run it back up. But as of now, boy, I would be careful. Like, this is dying. Okay, I would definitely be careful. Please cover gaming. I'm actually invested in Super. I've checked Prime. I just never invested in it. I think the tokenomics I didn't really like, but I have a position in Super. But I think that's also really really dying. What about Super? Oh, Lublo is also talking about Super. Shraven S also. Let's grab up the Super chart. I have it in my watch list here. Super. Oh, Ben. Oi. Yeah, so Super on the weekly time frame is looking something like this. Let's grab the other chart. I have more data on one. Now on the perpetual chart, I think it was Qcoin. Yeah. Okay. So right here, what was so significant? Right here, we had this weekly supply zone, right? We had this weekly supply zone, and then we got the rejection from the weekly supply zone, and then we broke past it, making this a weekly demand zone, and I call it a flip. It's when your supply goes over into demand, okay? And it always gives extremely nice bounces. Okay, it gives extremely nice bounces because this is just your second market structure break right here, your other second boss, and I actually longed this and then longed this, but later on got stopped out at entry on this move. But it was looking really nice. I was really not expecting price to go lower than that flip zone, but that's exactly what we're doing right now, right? So this was and this is our weekly market structure low. So preferably, guys, I really do not want to see that low get broken. Okay, I really don't want to see that low get broken. We do have monthly structure here. So what could happen is on the monthly time frame, this is just one entire break, and it could just be a higher low for a higher high on the monthly. I would just really like it if it could, at the same time that it respects the monthly, it respects the weekly, okay? And we're at that weekly market structure low right now, which is right here. So getting rid of this line, I would love for this week to close as an SFP, okay? An SFP of this low. Now, was there some demand that needed to get mitigated down here? It must have been, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't go there. Let's check that. Yeah, there was demand right there. I think it was backed by a lot of volume as well. Yeah, look at the volume. Look at the volume distribution. Yeah. So check that. Check how big. You have 3 volume profiles here, right? You have like one move here indicating there's a lot of volume in this area. Then you have one move here indicating there's a lot of volume in this area, and you have one here as well, okay? So this demand was backed by a lot of volume, so that's why we're seeing at least some sort of buyer step in here. And price did have a reason to potentially come past that weekly market structure low because we had that demand. But now that the demand has been mitigated, I really want to see price push higher, okay? I really want to see price push higher, close as a weekly SFP, and then from there, if we break this high, we can have a rotation all the way back up towards that all-time high, okay? So I want an SFP on the weekly time frame of this weekly market structure low, followed by a break of structure of this weekly market structure high from the top down. And if we break past 0.784, that's when we can have a rotation back towards the all-time high, okay? And that range high is backed by good-looking supply, so it will be significant if we break past that market structure high, because it would indicate that supply is failing, and finally after 154 days, demand can take the overhand and neglect supply. Okay, it's that switch between supply and demand where finally demand is stronger and we start breaking some actual structure. Okay, so that's super prime shrapnel. Let's check prime. I think shrapnel is really small, guys. That's very hard to chart. Oh boy, what is this? Damn. Is there another chart? It's the same. Oh man, this has been smacked down. Absolutely smacked down. This is your weekly low, man. You broke your weekly market structure, but it could be a fake break into demand. That's definitely possible. That is definitely possible. Yeah, I would just want to see like a massive accumulation schematic if I would ever touch this again. I think I didn't touch it because they had many token unlocks coming up, which would cause also this massive sell-off. Like, what is this? This is like, oh man, it's like 83%. You broke weekly structure. Like, in general, you would say you break weekly structure, right? So even though you bounce from demand, what is expectational order flow after breaking structure, while also a lot of tokens came into circulation, a lower high for a lower low, right? So yeah, the chart of prime isn't the best, but it did have like a good narrative. It was like AI and gaming in one, from what I remember. So it's tough, man. Like, let's say you break market structure back to bearish here, what just happened, but something like this happens where you take the low and you immediately break it back to bullish. That would then be okay. Okay, that's something I would tolerate, where it immediately just breaks back to bullish and you can long the higher low with confirmation and run it back up. But right now, man, it's not looking the best. Okay, it's not looking the best. Not looking the best. And then shrapnel. I remember shrapnel. It was like this first-person shooter game, no? Yeah, guys. This is something I can't chart, you know? I just know that Shrapnel launched their project with like only 10% of tokens in circulation. So all these tokens are going into circulation, and that's where you're getting this massive sell-off. Like, I truly want you guys to pay attention to that when you invest in a project, because I want you guys to read the white paper and then just read the tokenomics, okay? Like, if a project launches with 10% of tokens in circulation and you know when the token unlocks are happening, it's so much supply being put on the market. And then for a project that doesn't even have that much demand yet, it just gets absolutely destroyed. So once all tokens are in circulation, which could be happening, and you start seeing some rounding up, that's when you could maybe run it back. But it's definitely a lesson to learn in case you didn't know about it, is really pay attention to the tokenomics of a project in the white paper, okay? Like, I cannot trade this. This is just downtrending, okay? Your first signs of strength would be to break past this high, which is simply your daily market structure high, okay? Super, we did super. Shout out to you, Base Blue. Can you check Brett? Obviously, we did that. I think you should take a look at PYRIN. Looks like a leverage play on Caspa with better tech. Does it have a chart? PYRIN. I think it's very new. Oof. Oh, man. Same story as with Shrapnel, man. This needs some time. It could maybe be a potentially like a crazy fundamental project, but this is not something I can chart properly. This is something you know, need to buy because you see the vision, you know, and you have conviction. But from just a simple TA perspective, breaking this high would be at least your first signs of strength, because then you will break some structure and you could look for a higher low for a higher high. But from a TA perspective, not much that I can do. We did redo. Shout out to you, Ross. Empire Gardens, Mock. Well done on that call. Guys, to any Mock holders still watching this video or just watching this part, because I think I'll do timestamps, I was getting absolutely flamed for posting about Mog going all the way back to the range low. But look at that. Oh boy, that's just beautiful, guys. Like, we saw the distribution, okay, where each high was also on lower volume. And then you got the break right here. It was just so obvious that this was going to be a lower high for a lower low. And it was actually in total like a 70% move down, like 67. It was amazing. I didn't know this fucking pair was on MEXC as a perpetual. I thought it was just spot. So otherwise, I would have actually leverage traded it. But no, I had limit orders on Bybit around the range low like this. And they all get filled on the move down. So look at this volume, guys. The day closed bearish, right? The day closed bearish. That's why this volume candle is red. But there's so much volume, and price wicked and closed all the way up here, and now we're immediately seeing price push higher. So that just indicated that a lot of buy orders came in here because all these sell orders got absorbed and price closed with a massive wick, and now we're going higher. So really study the coins that bounce the hardest when the market is having a relief rally, because those are the coins with the greatest demand. And this is already up around almost 100%. That's absolutely insane. Almost 100% up for a 500 million fully diluted market cap project. So I do want to give massive respect to the MOG community, because even though you guys were absolutely flaming me and I ended up being right, shout out to you, get mogged. Nah, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm a part of the squad now, okay? I also have like, I don't know, like 10 grand in MOG. So even though I was getting absolutely flamed by you guys for posting bearish content, I really respected the community, you know? I made one post about MOG and it got like 20K views, and I have like, normally I average around 2 to 3K. So it just shows a lot of community engagement around the coin, and that's exactly what you want to see on a meme coin. So actually, that community engagement made me way more certain about the project doing well, because the community is so strong, right? So yeah, same story here on MOG. I added around 50 or 40% of my position in limit orders, and then I'll see what happens. We're getting a massive relief rally, but I believe, you know, at some point there'll be another entry. So yeah, I'm part of the team now. 40% to 50% invested, just a few grand, right? And yeah, you guys cannot MOG me anymore. Like, I'm part of the squad now. Part of the squad now. Andy and SMH. What is up, Nif or Finn? We already did Andy, so let's just do SMH. I think SMH is not on deck screener, no? I've heard about that once. SMH. I think that was like on this random exchange. I'm sorry, man. I forgot the name of the exchange. It was a, I don't know. If you can remind me, if you're watching this, what the exchange was, Finn. It was like on this random, like XTO or something. XTO. I don't know. It was like this random exchange. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're watching you. Nailed it. Yeah, man. YouTube saw the content and they were just like, you know what? This is too juicy. We cannot release this. Base Brad, shout out to you, Master Perils. We already did that. We all did these coins except Toshi. Let's have a look at Toshi, okay? Let's have a look at Toshi. I actually looked at this recently just because I was curious. Yeah, so regarding Toshi, right? We're in a weekly market structure uptrend on the high time frame where you have a move up and then you have the higher low and then you have the higher high, and now you're coming into extreme demand, aka the last demand remaining before touching the range low. And it's a weekly order block, pretty significant zone that we're currently in. But we're kind of surpassing that zone. And I really wouldn't want to lose that weekly market structure low, but it could kind of be that Andy situation, right? Where you're getting so close to that weekly low into important area or into important demand, and that's where you bounce. Really keeping it macro on here because the candles aren't looking the best. Is that your most important structure to break is your structure from the top down, which is this daily high, okay? It's this daily high, and if you break that high, you can have a full-on rotation. If you break that high, you can have a full-on rotation back up towards the all-time high. That's such an ugly drawing. Okay, wait, let me do that better. Let's say you recover from here and you start breaking daily structure and you do get the retrace. That's when I would look for the higher low, for the higher high to take all the way towards the all-time high. Okay? Because in that case, this higher time frame weekly structure could continue itself in a very extended fashion. Okay? Bread and Pepe, we did that. They don't want you to let people know what the massive results we're about to experience. Yeah, man. I'm thinking this is going to be the case. Just a massive liquidity sweep, and then maybe it takes some time. Maybe it takes some time for the reversal to be in full effect, but a slow grind up followed by just an expansion that nobody expects. That's like kind of what I'm aiming at. Some Caspa charts, we did that. Caspa we did, AERO we did, so many. Gerald, you're feeling juicy, Gerald, giving me fucking 20 ass pairs. I'm gonna do VANRY and Tau. Okay, I'm gonna do VANRY and Tau, because I'm actually also invested in Tau. So always nice to look at things you're invested in, right? Binance. Which one did I always use? BitGet, right? Yeah. So. Also here on Tau is the perfect example of major exchange listings being short to mid time frame bearish, but long term bullish. Okay, so right here we got the biggest distribution you could have asked for. It was a massive Wyckoff Model 1, where this wick happened when it got listed on Binance. Okay, and I want you guys to realize that. Why is a major exchange listing bearish for a project in the short term, at least, is because all these people that were early investors into Tau and made millions and millions and millions of dollars, it's very hard to sell that on chain, okay, because of the liquidity pool. But when Binance, okay, takes on a project on its exchange, it also needs to buy a part of the supply of that project because it needs to create a market. If you want to sell it, they will buy it to you, okay? And if you want to buy it, they will sell it to you. So they need to have some Tau in the back of their hand to create a market for you to trade TAU on their exchange. So whenever you have these early investors making millions and millions of dollars, what they do is they move those profits from on-chain and then they sell it off-chain on an exchange, right? And it's very easy because the exchange has enough liquidity for them to limit order out, basically. Okay, so they put limit orders all the way up to here, and then they push price up, and then the limit orders get filled, and then they are all out of the positions, and then price dumps. Okay, so that's why major exchange listings are at least short-term bearish. But as you can see right here in Dutch, this is an important low. Okay, and it's your weekly market structure low. So it's kind of the same vibe as we had on Super, where this is your weekly market structure, and I really don't want to lose that low. It's a very important low, but we're SFPing it right now. So if we SFP it and then we come back above that high right here, let's say we come back above that high, that's when I will be looking for longs to take all the way back towards the all-time high. Because the way we've been coming down, this is literally just liquidity. This is just one big trail of buy-side liquidity, and there's not that much resistance above us. Okay, I see this daily order block. We can put it in there. Maybe that's where we reject from. Maybe something like this. Okay, this is something I would want to see, and I would add on the retest after breaking structure. But I'm not looking to add anything now. You can, if you have a long-term vision and you're not exposed to this project at all, you can definitely, invest 30 to 40% right here. But in general, I think this would just be the highest convicted play. Okay. And then VANRY. Let's do VANRY. Oh man, did I call the most biggest move ever on VANRY? There you go. Yeah, I called this short right here. Right here. I told everyone to sell, basically. Damn, how much was that? You can search up on my Twitter and find the tag VANRY. I told you guys to sell up here, and it moved down 70%. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Yeah, man, this is pretty nuts. This is just a case where you have an entire move up and you just recover the entire move up, moving down. So whenever that happens, price really just needs to take its time. Okay, it needs to take its time. Preferably, we come up from here, like we're obviously trending down on the higher time frame. We're just trending down, right? This being your weekly market structure high. But preferably, you just want a project like this to just take its time. Start a new range or something. Start a new range where you're going higher and you're kind of, accumulating. There you go. Kind of have a 1, 2, and a 3. And just have an entire new range, which is a new accumulation to gear up for that next move up if it's going to have one, right? So, yeah, not much that I can chart. We are in a demand. That's one thing I can say. We're in like the extreme demand. So if this is ever going to make a new high, I think this will be as close to a bottom as you're going to get. But right now, there are also no signs of strength yet. So if you want some exposure, you can add like 20 to 30% already and then wait for something like this to happen to add the rest and then add the last little on the breakout. Okay? Andy on ETH and when on Sol. Is when a project? This is ETH. Yeah, so updating ETH, right? Which the name, Todd. Shout out to you, and I've seen you in the comment section multiple times. Absolute G. Let's do ETH. Let's do ETH first. Because I talked about ETH on this PO3, and man, that got disrespected like crazy. People were like, bro, if we ever come to your manipulation phase, I'm fucked. And then we just absolutely smashed through it. But this is a very clean liquidity sweep. Like a very, very, very clean liquidity sweep. So, yeah, man, this is, I don't think it's a range break yet. Let me check. Let me check. Yeah, technically speaking, if you do not close below this low, it's not a range break. But man, oh man, this was tough. This was tough for sure. You're still respecting this. Oh, this is actually your weekly market structure low. Yeah, so this is a very important low to keep into account. You don't want to lose that low. And as of now, we're also not losing low. We just took liquidity from the low, which is also fine. But yeah, ETH has a long way to go, man. ETH has a long way to go. We haven't broken structure bearish, but in order to confirm any real signs of strength, you have to break market structure back to bullish. And that's simply not going to happen until right now. Your first signs of strength would be this 45-minute high, which is also backed by supply. So, man, ETH has some work to do if we want to see higher prices, okay? So I'm just waiting patiently on ETH. We have loads and loads of liquidity above. So also take that into account with your ETH beta plays, okay? Even though the ETH beta plays are moving up, like I'm seeing some percentages that I like. Nice. But yeah, ETH has a long way to go, okay? But preferably do not lose that low on at 2167, okay? Please explore Brett. We did Brett, my brother. Shout out to you. Was just watching it before it got deleted. Let's see Brett. Thanks, bro. We got Brett. Shout out to you guys. Casper and Andy, we did that. Shout out to you. Luke. Dartijan Crypto, man. I've seen you in the comment section. Absolute legend. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate the support. Coin suggestions. Casper and XRP. Yeah, actually funny that you say XRP since we already did Casper. I made a post about XRP a while back about this could be a sleeping giant. Oh, down. Yeah, the TA is still there. We had the macro range low. So this was our macro range right here. Macro range high here, macro range low here. Okay. Right below that low, we had the POC of the previous range, indicating that there was a lot of volume in that area. And the way we came down to take the macro range low right here, we actually had a local accumulation with a 1 tap, a 2 tap, and a 3 tap, where that 3rd tap also took the macro range low, tapping into that demand zone. So I made the tweet right around here, and we got the move up of an extra like 27%. But from there, what happened is we came into the volume area high. Right, we came into the volume area high right here, and then we started deviating that range high and distributing, and now coming lower. Now, this could be a higher low here. Who knows, right? This could be a higher low. Where is the color? Let's get rid of this. Let's clean it up a bit because it's basically a mess. Let's clean that up. Okay. You did broke some structure back inside the range, right? You did break some structure back inside the range right here on the daily time frame. So this could be a higher low for a higher high. I do know that if XRP is going to move, like all our volume, like literally the entire volume in this macro range right here. So the entire volume in this macro range is all in this section of the range, aka the discount section. And what do I mean with that? Like all the price action in this range, if this is a valid macro range, like do you see that there's literally no price action in the upper section of the range, therefore also no volume? So if we are deviating the range low and we get a confirmation to long here, and this can be a potential accumulation, like if we break past this point, this is going to be such an easy fill. It's going to be so fast and so easy, it's not even funny, right? But I would rather trade this than spot buy anything because it's still XRP, right? So, in my opinion, there are better plays than XRP this bull run. But yeah, we're coming into demand, and this could be a place to potentially put in that higher low. And otherwise, we could come back and potentially, create a macro Model 1. Okay, that's your other scenario. Either a Model 2 or a Model 1. And if we do break past this point, the fill towards this range high right here will be extremely easy. Okay? Ducky. Also, shout out to Cray. I don't know how to pronounce your name exactly, but I also see you commenting, so I appreciate the support. You're also growing fast, 6.6K down. So, Ducky. I think Ducky is extremely new. I've seen it on my timeline once. Maybe even because you posted it. Ducky Duck. So this is a low cap. Not that much charting to do. Staying on the daily time frame, right? This is just simply making higher lows and higher highs. We did see the breaks decreasing, where this is a bigger break than here. Not even. Is this a bigger break? Let's measure. This break was around 75%. This break was around 44. Yeah, so the breaks were decreasing a bit, but obviously that's going to happen if you just launch the coin. It's going to be more explosive in the beginning. I am seeing some demand. Right here, which is pretty significant because it's not just demand, it's actually part of a demand chain. So you had a daily order block right here, and that daily order block created this daily order block. So it's part of a demand chain, and those are always extremely strong. So I really wouldn't want to see that demand chain get lost, because that would also mean that you're going to break structure, right? Let's look at the volume. Let's look at some volume. It also has the most volume. Like, come on now. It also has the most volume. So yeah, this would be an ideal buy. Like, if you could come here and you could break structure on like a 4-hour time frame back to bullish, that could be an easy play for a higher low and a higher high. It is a fairly new asset though, so watch out with any weird moves. But it's a daily demand chain backed by a lot of volume. So if you do see any signs of strength coming into that support POI, that could definitely be a buy. Overall, your market structure from the top down is looking something like this. So your first signs of strength for potentially a new all-time high would be to break that high right here. So break past this high, and you can have a rotation back towards the all-time high. Because also looking in the move down itself, this is just nothing but liquidity. Okay, this is nothing but liquidity. So there's not that much to hold price or to keep price from taking that all-time high. But preferably we go a bit lower, tapping into that demand. I don't know how far away that is. It's pretty, that's pretty deep, 45%. Yeah, so either break for market structure and that way confirm a rotation back towards the high, and otherwise, wait for that demand chain to get mitigated. And obviously, if we do mitigate the demand chain, that would mean your high moves to that high. Okay? That's it on Ducky. Inu. Let's do one more. We have all it on Wolf. Let's do Inu. Inu. Oh, damn. I don't know if this is correct one. You're really a low market cap meme coin degen. Damn. So you had a massive pump up and you just recovered the entire pump. And then I think you just missed this demand zone, no? Yeah, you did. Yeah, this had a very nice distribution at the top. Like, This is a very strong demand zone because obviously the sellers here, this is where buyers stepped in, and then from that little V shape right here, price pumped around, like, it's not even funny. I'm gonna just say like a 25x. But what happened after that 25x pump, you had a very clean distribution where you had your range high, you wicked it, and you had the lower high, or even the lower high right here, right? So you had a very clean distribution schematic, and that played out, and it tapped its range low. This was your range low, and right here we tapped it. So preferably you also have a nice accumulation schematic right now, right? So maybe we go lower and we take that low once more, tapping into that high time frame demand zone that caused a 25x. So something like this would be ideal in my opinion. If it would be the most easy, right? If you come down with bearish market structure and you see sweep of the low, breaking structure back inside, that right there is your biggest buy signal. You take that towards the local range high, and if you break the range high, you look for that back test, and then you take it all the way up towards a new all-time high. Okay? That's my thought process behind it. Let's see if people commented a bit more. We did PEPE. Where do you expect Bitcoin from here? Damn, I think we also went up. Yeah, we went over Bitcoin for sure. I almost forgot. PM, bro. PM, bro. I don't know what he means. And okay, that was it. Damn, guys, this has been a 2-hour video. It's 3:45 in the morning for me, but this is what I do for you guys. I love all of you, and yeah, if you've watched it this far or you made it this far, and you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments and ask me anything. If you liked the video, I went over every single altcoin. So if you appreciate that, go leave a like, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.